I typed in Hulk Hogan lies. This is the very first thing that pops up. 29 of the most outrageous lies and tall tales Hulk Hogan has ever said. Now, granted, you guys know I'm not the biggest Hulk Hogan fan. I don't claim to be. If anything, I'm a proud Hulk Hogan hater. Triple H if it wasn't for Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Shout out in the chat. Hey, also as well, throw a little bloodline acknowledgement if you're a Hulk Hogan hater. I just want to see something. That's all. I just want to see something. We're gonna go ahead through the 29 of the most outrageous lies that this man has ever said. Now again, not a fan, but I will say it is somewhat entertaining. We're gonna cut through here. I'm just gonna go straight. Hulk Hogan rejected dinner invitations from Madonna and Cher. Shout out to Gabs. He rejected Madonna and Cher. Now, I mean, okay. Madonna and Cher, two of like the biggest icons in music, just in Hollywood. And he turned them down. I don't think they even would have hung out with him personally. Now, this is an example of a tall tale. Oh, it even gives you a little bit there. Martin, shout out to Martin as well. Throw up the acknowledgement one up there. Oh, Sanfran 5 is with me 100%. We don't like Hulk Hogan. Madonna held the records for being the best. Hogan received invitations from when he was with his wife. Neither Madonna. Sheiky all the way. Shout out to Sheiky. Oh. Neither Madonna or Cher has confirmed or denied these claims because they don't have the time for it, dude. That's why. They don't have the time for Hulk Hogan. Who cares? Of course they're not going to confirm or deny. They're out here living their lives. Vince McMahon asked him to return to the WWE after his TNA run. Okay, see, actually, I don't think that one's crazy. I don't think that one's nuts. They say it's a tall tale or a lie. I believe it. Vince has always had a hard on for Hulk Hogan. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. He's always been like that. Hogan claimed McMahon wanted him to fight The Rock. Okay, now I see where they're going. I don't buy that. This is after TNA? So he wrapped up in TNA, what, like in 2014? 2013, around that time? He's not fighting The Rock. Give me a break. They already had the matchup twice. Muhammad Ali considered him to be the greatest of all time. He probably said that like tongue-in-cheek, like, oh, you're the greatest. Oh, you're the best. And then Hogan just ran with it. I don't buy that either. That's ridiculous. He's not even the greatest of all time in his own profession. Trying to tell me he's the best of all time. And if Muhammad Ali did say that, it was probably by accident. Shout out to Martin. Martin, I was hoping it was going to be on here, but you beat us to it. Martin brings up my favorite Hulk Hogan lie. Says he wrestled 400 days in 1 year. Oh, you heard that right. 400 days in a year. Because he traveled so much between Japan and the US, the time difference adds it up and made it possible. Okay, I don't like Hogan. That right there is probably the greatest thing he has ever said. That is comedy. He said, I worked 400 days because I kept jumping back and forth between the US and Japan. I love that one. Shout out to Martin. Hulk Hogan got his black eye from a speeding jet ski. Yeah, the story is that he claims it was from a jet ski. But the other one is that the Randy Macho Man Savage clocked him in the face and gave him a black eye. I would love to think it was Macho Man punching Hogan in the face. But okay, real quick, I want to talk about that. About WrestleMania 9. What a bogus ending. I know I try to be very positive. I try to be very lighthearted when it comes to pro wrestling. But in recent times, it's been a great source of entertainment. But there were times, man, where it's like these guys were just doing the most. Bret Hart versus Yokozuna is the main event of WrestleMania 9. Yoko wins the Rumble. Yoko wins the title and beats Bret Hart. So what do? They send out Hulk Hogan to beat Yokozuna. And the worst part of it is, Bret Hart lost the championship. He got cheated out of the championship. Because Mr. Fuji, the manager of Yokozuna, threw salt into the eyes of the Hitman. So what is his first reaction? Out comes Hulk Hogan for some reason. And Bret Hart says, yeah, go get him. Go get that title. And Hulk Hogan wins the championship. I think it's one of the worst endings to WrestleMania. I don't think it makes any lick of sense. So the fact that that's what happened, that's stupid. I'm sorry. I think you should just have... If you didn't want it to be a bad guy winning at the end of the night, then don't have Yoko win the championship. And if you don't have Yoko win the championship, why do you have him win the Rumble? Makes no sense then. Makes no sense now. Martin brings up another good one. He partied with John Belushi after Mania 2 in 86. John Belushi passed away in 82. That one's another one that I look at and I'm like, he's really out of it. It was a screwy type finish. Who booked that crap? Vince. Come on. But I mean, granted, maybe Hogan politicked. Maybe Hogan found a way back in the main event picture, brother. Hulk Hogan suffered the same fate as Bruiser. Oh, sorry. Hulk Hogan almost suffered the same fate as Bruiser Brody a few months before his death. He says he claimed to get death threats from someone. I believe it. I actually buy this one. Because I'm sure there's people out there who are, maybe a fry short of a Happy Meal that would go as so far as to threaten someone. I'm not condoning that at all. But I mean, this one, low-key, I think I could. I think I could buy this one. The best of all, Martin says, am not a steroid abuser and do not use... Oh my God. He went on Arsenio Hall in the midst of the steroid trial, which could be a possible topic that we discuss on a Thursday live stream. Of course, we leave that up to you in the polls. In the midst of that, Hulk Hogan is photographed with... Oh my God, I just saw San Fran Fives. He is photographed with Dr. Zohorian and Vince McMahon, who are both the leaders in the steroid trial. In the midst of that, Hulk Hogan goes on Arsenio Hall, a talk show, very much like Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, for those who don't remember the Arsenio Hall show. And he goes on live TV and says, I am not a steroid abuser and I do not use steroids, when in fact, we know you did, Hulkster. When you were saying to take your vitamins, are you taking your vitamins through the mouth or through a needle? Because, I mean, let's be real. Sanford 5 says, cough, cough, day in the life of Rowdy Piper in regards to Bruiser Brody, because he got stabbed. Hulk Hogan faced Brock Lesnar after his UFC run. Yeah, this was a recent one, wasn't it? That he said he claimed that he fought Brock Lesnar after his UFC run, when he didn't. It was in 2002. Brock Lesnar was like 3 or 4 months into the main roster. Hulk Hogan claimed he was with Kerry Von Erich before his death. I don't know why he consistently has to put himself in like the Forrest Gump position of life, where it's like Hogan's everywhere. I don't know why his obsession of being in the middle of the storm is. I really don't. It makes no sense to me. Actually, no. I take that back. It makes sense to me. Because when he talks about the Hulkamania, the Hulkamaniacs, it's really a matter of an egomaniac. It's narcissism at its finest. I'm not a doctor, for sure. But I think I can see narcissism when I see one. Come on. And ironically enough, Kerry Von Erich, who we did talk about in last week's live stream, quick little plug to Thursday night live streams where we talked about the Von Erich family. Quick plug to him. Rest in peace to the Von Erichs. Hulk Hogan said that Mike Tyson was scared to face him in a boxing match. Like, what is that? Like, actually, Mike Tyson in his prime? It has to be. They have this picture. He was afraid to fight Hogan. I gotta read this one. In his autobiography, Hulk Hogan brought up that both he and George Foreman were supposed to take each other on in a celebrity boxing match for charity. This was in the 1980s. While that doesn't seem so far-fetched, of course, there is no concrete evidence that this dream match was supposed to take place. However, that isn't even the biggest lie of the interview. While he was in WCW, Hogan said that a pay-per-view bout between himself and Mike Tyson was supposed to commence. Hogan's excuse as to why it didn't happen: Tyson was too scared. Yeah, he was afraid it was going to ruin his reputation to be facing someone like Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was supposed to be the face of the George Foreman grill. This one's a funny one. Martin, I'm surprised you didn't mention this one, because I like this one too. So George Foreman, obviously, famous boxer, had a deal with the grill called the George Foreman grill. We used to have one back in the day. Apparently, Hulk Hogan says that he got a phone call that he did not pick up, and it was the people over at the George Foreman grill. Now, granted, it wasn't George Foreman yet, but that they wanted to offer him a deal for a grill. His own little brand of a grill. The Gary Coleman grill. No, very funny. The George Foreman grill. Hulk Hogan claims they were going to call him. Or rather, they did call him. He didn't pick up. So because he didn't pick up, they went to George Foreman. I don't think that's how it works. I feel like if they wanted him, they would have just called back, or maybe called a representative, or maybe got a different form of contact information with him. I don't think they would have just jumped the gun and said, oh, he didn't pick up? Okay, let's go to pick number 2. I don't think that's how it works. I'm not a businessman, but I like to think that's not how it works. Hulk Hogan fought pride fighters in the 70s. Pride fighting wasn't a thing until 97. See what I mean? It's like, dude, that's nearly 30 years of a difference. 20 years. We'll say 20 years. I feel like he just says things to say it at this point. Hulk Hogan really wanted to turn heel in 1990 since Vince didn't let him. I can believe that, actually. I don't think that one's crazy. That one, I don't think is that crazy. Because Vince obviously is a businessman, doesn't want to turn his top babyface heel. He wants to keep the revenue coming in and keep the market open for them. Why would you want to turn your top guy heel? It's why John Cena never turned into a bad guy. So this one, Hulk Hogan, I'll give you a pass. I believe this one. But actually, I want to know what they say here in the description as to why. Everyone knows Hogan's epic heel turn in 96 changed the entire business. And he claims he wanted to do it 6 years earlier. In 2021, a podcast, Hogan says he pitched the idea that after he lost to the Warrior at WrestleMania 6, Hogan would hand the belt over, then turn heel to attack the Warrior. Honestly, wouldn't have been opposed to it. He even said he would have, I remember it now, he would have been Triple H Hogan and be a major heel, but Vince vetoed it. While it's a fun idea, it's hard to imagine Hogan then would have been okay stepping between the beloved hero. So this is a revisionist history. Yeah, what was that about too? Because Hulk Hogan started referring to himself as Triple H at one point, and this is after we know, the Triple H, because there's supposed to be Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Gab says, has he always been this way? Has water always been wet? Like, it's always been like this. I don't know what his problem is. He's always been like this. It's ridiculous. And with the internet, maybe Hogan doesn't realize with the internet, things kind of live forever. So it's like people kind of keep track of what you say, dude. He says Tatsumi Fujinami, Hall of Famer, tried to fight him and win the WWE title. They wrestled many times against each other in the 80s. Maybe he made water. Maybe he did. I would not be surprised if he took credit for that as well. He's going to argue that the H2 is for Hulk Hogan. I'm willing to bet he would do that. He would trademark that. Hulk Hogan convinced Vince McMahon to create merchandise for wrestlers. He also claimed entrance music was his idea. Okay, see what I mean? Like, everything revolves around this guy. He's trying to take credit for merchandise and for entrance music. Even if that is true, his reputation precedes him. So it's like the boy who cried wolf. You say it so many times, it's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Everything revolves. There would be no pro wrestling without Hulk Hogan. There would simply be no pro wrestling without Terry Bollea. At least that's what he wants you to think. Oh, this is a good one. This is rich. Hulk Hogan got front row tickets to a WWE show for a Make-A-Wish kid. Hulk Hogan wasn't working for the WWE this time. Gab said he helped God with Earth's blueprints. Yeah, because God created the world in 6 days, and on the 7th day, Hulk Hogan dropped a big elbow and a leg drop on whoever was against it. Muhammad says Hulk Hogan did start pro wrestling. We can agree to disagree. Now, did he help in terms of like it becoming a global phenomenon? Yeah, sure. He had a hand in it. I'm not gonna say, oh, he started it or he created. No. He had a hand in it. I will give Hulk Hogan his credit when it's due. Believe me, I'll give him his credit there. But the Hulk Hogan Make-A-Wish story. Just let me start pro wrestling, brother. Honestly, Hulk Hogan probably did. He probably thinks that. Hulk Hogan. Okay, so in 1992, SummerSlam 92 was emanating from Wembley Stadium in London. And Hulk Hogan claims that a Make-A-Wish kid wanted to see the show. And he brought him to the 92 SummerSlam event. Hogan wasn't even working it. He wasn't even a part of it. Just for further context, we'll go ahead and give it a read. To his credit, Hulk Hogan has done a lot of charity work over the years, including the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but bragging about your charity stuff does undermine it a bit. Among Hogan's tales is that he was in the United Kingdom before SummerSlam 92, meeting a Make-A-Wish kid and making sure he had a front row seat at the show. Sounds great, except Hogan wasn't in England and he wasn't at SummerSlam 92 and not even working for the WWE at that time. I've already lost track at how many we're at. I think we're about halfway. Hulk Hogan wrote movie scripts but didn't get any credit for it. I highly doubt that. Also, he should have shaved his head a long time ago. MLB's New York Yankees and the Cincinnati Reds scouted him. I got no comment. Oh my God. This one. The Undertaker almost paralyzed him at Survivor Series 91. You go back to Survivor Series 91, it's The Undertaker's, the complete first year for The Undertaker. And he defeats Hulk Hogan for the WWE title, delivers, of course, the finisher, the tombstone pile driver. And Hulk Hogan claims that The Undertaker, upon, delivering the tombstone, says that he nearly paralyzed him because his head hit the ground or hit the mat. And Taker is actually upset with himself, saying, oh my God, I just hurt the top guy. My job's over. My career's done. And then you go to the back and the boys are telling Taker, dude, he was a foot off the ground. He was nowhere close to the ground. It's just one of those things where he's just politicking, trying to protect his spot at the expense of anybody. Come on. You go back, look it up. His head is a foot off the ground. Hulk Hogan recognized Kevin Owens' talent after watching his work in NXT. WWE had cut ties with Hogan in 2015. Again, another instance of the world doesn't revolve around you, man. He's trying to take credit for Kevin Owens now. It's dude, get over yourself, man. Hogan, here's Martin's. Hogan wrestled 400 days in a single year. That's a great one. That's an all-timer. Hogan's lavish lifestyle cost him hundreds of millions of dollars. Hogan was one of the most highest paid wrestlers of his time, rather. Am I supposed to feel bad for him? That's your decision. Okay, granted, let's say he does lose hundreds of millions of dollars. Then don't overspend. then live your lifestyle, you know, economically more smart. I don't feel bad for you there. Sorry, Hogan. Hogan outdrank John Belushi after WrestleMania 2. We talked about this one. WrestleMania 2 was in 86. Belushi had passed away in 82. It doesn't match up. Hogan said that he suffered a broken rib at WrestleMania 18. This one's not crazy. Maybe he did. He's older. Gabs, yes, he did. He had Hogan Knows Best. It was like 2005 to 2007, I want to say. And I watched some of it. I won't even lie to you. I watched some of it. When it was like on, not like recently, but like when it was live, yeah, I watched some of it. Can't tell you what happened. I don't remember anything from it. Hulk Hogan, Elvis Presley was a huge Hulk Hogan fan. Keep in mind, Hulk Hogan became a star like in 83, 82-ish in the AWA, and wasn't this version of Hulk Hogan until like 84. Elvis died in 77. Do I even have to say anything on that one? His wrestling match with Randy Savage on Saturday Night's Main Event was a shoot. Okay. What Hulk Hogan said about the Montreal Screwjob. What did he say about the Screwjob? Hold on. Although Hulk Hogan was long gone from the WWE come 97, everyone in the world of pro wrestling knew of, or at least heard about, the events that transpired that would famously be known as the Montreal Screwjob. In an interview with an Australian radio host, this is word for word what Hogan hath... Sorry, I looked over. Gab says the math ain't mathin'. It really isn't. But we have actual... Let's see. Let's go ahead and get a better look at this. Well, Bret Hart was supposed to lose to Shawn at WrestleMania. Whatever the hell it was. 16 or 17. I'm not going to get mad at him for not knowing the Manias. That's fine. It would have been WrestleMania 13. He said, I don't know. Where all the fans were chanting, Bret screwed Bret. Bret told Vince, I'm not losing to Shawn Michaels in Canada. Survivor Series. And Shawn Michaels went out there and pulled a fast one on Bret Hart and held him down and pinned him. And Bret couldn't do anything about it. And so-called excellence of execution, who was supposed to be the greatest wrestler of all, little teeny Shawn Michaels held him down and embarrassed him, though. Bret Hart was being a horse, saying he wouldn't lose, and Shawn pinned him anyway. So he didn't see the match, clearly, because Shawn never pinned him. It was the Montreal Screwjob. See, it's like, dude, just saying things to say things. Hogan weighed 600 plus pounds at Mania 3. I mean, I think at that time he might have been like 500? I can't dispute this one. But again, it's one of those things where he tries to put it over so much, so it's like it makes the slam so much more impressive in his book. Hogan slammed Andre was a last-minute call. Meltzer disputes this claim. So yeah, apparently the story goes that Hogan was supposed to body slam Andre, but Andre was like, I'm not going to do it. He's like, I'm not going to take it from him, or basically it was a last-minute thing. I mean, let's be real. It's WrestleMania 3. At that point, it's the biggest WrestleMania ever, following 2 and 1. It's the biggest crowd the WWE has had for a main pay-per-view. Do you really think they're going to let that slide and have the finish be undetermined? No. Of course not. Everything's riding on this show, and you're going to leave it up to chance? No. Hulk Hogan could have been a part of Metallica. And then Lars didn't even know Hogan's name. He didn't even know who he was. But see, it's like there's a trend here. There's literally a pattern. What the hell does Metallica have to do with Hulk Hogan? He has to be the center of attention. He has to be in the headlines. And here I am feeding into it. That's basically what we're doing. We're giving him what he wants. Hulk Hogan didn't know The Rock and Austin would come out at WrestleMania 30. BS. Again, it's WrestleMania 30. You think they're going to leave it up to chance? These shows are so produced. They're planned out accordingly. That way they can be successful. You have to manage for time. Hulk Hogan didn't know The Rock and Austin were going to be there. Why wouldn't they be?